All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reported that there are two suitors for Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. Now, this feels like a very divisive conversation, a very divisive topic here. I mean, it seems like there are a lot of fans that are against this. They don't want any part of Kyler Murray. And it also seems like there's a portion of the fan base that would entertain it, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. There's a lot of bad quarterback play in the National Football League. There's a lot of teams that Kyler Murray would step in and he would be an obvious upgrade. I mean, Kyler at the end of the day is an extremely talented player, despite the conversations about the Arizona Cardinals potentially moving off of him. I think there's a lot of pros to adding Kyler Murray. I also think there's a lot of red flags that the Jets would have to take into consideration. And whether you're for it, whether you're completely against it, we do have to look at the the realistic chance of this happening. And I do feel like this is a path that the Jets could actually travel down. So let's try to paint a picture on how this could possibly make sense, how this could potentially make sense where we're rolling out in 2026 and Kyler Murray's under center for the Jets. Let's talk about the positives first. I think the first point here, if you're a fan that's really concerned about the Jets draft capital, you're looking at those picks as like the holy, like this is the gold standard for rebuilding teams. It's the gold standard for adding talent, more so than cap space, more so than waiver claims, more so than trades. If you own first round picks, and a lot of them, it's almost the perfect way to speed up the rebuild. I mean, rebuilding a team is one thing, but to speed that process up is tremendous, right? And first round picks give you access to that. So if you're concerned with that draft capital, if you're looking at it, it's on this pedestal, like we cannot screw this up here, then Kyler Murray could be a really, really interesting option, because if the Jets don't finish with the first pick, second pick, or third pick, call it we're at 6, we're at 7, we win a couple of games down the stretch, pick 8, pick 9, yeah, I think maybe more so 5 to 7 is more realistic than like 8 through 10. But again, who knows how the season plays out here. If the Jets don't finish with one of those top 3 draft selections, they could very well be looking at QB3 or QB4 in this draft. And if we just, where I stand right now, it feels like it's a 2-man quarterback draft. Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza. In whichever order you want to plug those guys in, I'm cool with it. I think both guys are just, I really like both players, right? I think Dante Moore goes back to school. I talked to a couple of people close to the Oregon program over a month ago. The vibe, the feeling that I got back in the response was basically like the NFL is kind of this distant thing that we're going to worry about in the future. It's not about right now. It's not about growth. It's not about progression. It's not about winning games. It's not about like it feels very much like it's something that will be talked about in the future. So in other words, probably 2027 with Dante Moore. I believe Lenore Sellers and John Mateer will be going back to college. It just makes way too much sense for both of those guys, as opposed to declaring. And so again, if the Jets pick at 5, at 6, 7, 8, whatever, they're just not in the top 3 and they're missing out on one of the top quarterback prospects. I absolutely hate the idea of, well, Jets need a quarterback. We can't afford to pass on a quarterback because we just need one, so we'll settle for this guy. That is how the Pittsburgh Steelers wound up with Kenny Pickett. There's other examples that we can dive into as well in the first round. I mean, that is just, it just goes against everything. It's just, to me, you don't find a franchise quarterback in that by doing that. You need to be 1,000% sold and be in love with the quarterback that you're drafting in the first round, let alone top 10. And so the point here is, okay, if it's a 2-man quarterback draft so far, if you're talking about like actual first round top 10, top 15 guys, and you miss out on both of them and you're at 5, 6, 7, or 8, you can now go BPA. I mean, we all watched the game on Thursday night. We need some edge rushers. We need another defensive tackle. We need help at wide receiver and free safety. I would like a true middle linebacker, on this team moving forward. AVT, John Simpson, those guys are free agents. What exactly is going to happen at the guard and center position? Not suggesting going after guard or center in the top 10, but you guys know what I mean. It's just another position to think about. In the event that happens, right, and the Jets, again, miss out on that top and that first, second, third pick, if we go out and we acquire Kyler Murray, we can get an upgraded quarterback and just start looking at these draft picks like, oh, like we can really build this team out. 5 total first round picks over the next 2 drafts. That is insane. And so, of course, the question is, okay, well, if we're talking about acquiring Kyler Murray, he's going to be the guaranteed starter. He's age-wise in the prime of his career. It's not going to be a pick swap to go land him. What would be that compensation? To be honest with you, I don't think it would take a first-round pick. I seriously don't. Everybody knows that the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray could be breaking up this offseason. We look at the Kyler Murray contract. He's owed a lot of money. It's not egregious or anything, and the Cardinals still would owe Kyler Murray a lot. In the event that they cut him, they owe him, I think it's over a $50 million dead cap hit. Is Jonathan Gannon in a position to really do that? I mean, you kind of feel like he's on the hot seat right now. Is he really in a position to absorb over $50 million into that Cardinals roster? I mean, look at the Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams. I just don't think so. It feels like a trade is the more likely route for Arizona. And if that's the case, I believe that number drops down to around like a $17 million dead cap hit. So it's a lot more affordable if Arizona can just trade him. In other words, they're not going to be like, we want first round picks. We want 3 firsts, 2 firsts. That's just absurd. They're not going to get that. It's just not going to happen. I believe you could probably secure Kyler Murray. It might sound crazy for a second and a mid-rounder. So if the Jets want to do, call it the second round pick that they got from Dallas and a 2027 fourth, I truly think that could actually get the job done. So again, if you're a Jet fan and you're very concerned with these draft picks, we can't screw it up. We can't just blow them. We need them, and we need, like, this is the ticket out of the rebuild. Well, we've just upgraded the quarterback position with Kyler Murray, and we still have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 seasons, and we still have a second-round pick in this class. So we're not really at this massive net loss of draft picks, while at the same time getting a starting quarterback here in Kyler. That is one way to look at it. And as far as the Kyler Murray contract is concerned, I believe the exact number here is just over $125 million for Kyler over the next 3 seasons, 2026, 27, and 28. So we'll have a guy under contract. From that standpoint, again, if your sole focus is rebuilding this roster with the amount of first round picks that they have, and the overall draft capital, and really utilizing the cap space while simultaneously getting a pretty big upgrade at the quarterback position. I understand that the reputation around Kyler Murray is not good right now, but just based off of what we've seen from Fields and Taylor this season, Kyler is 1,000% an upgrade over those guys. It's not to say that he doesn't have any red flags, and we're going to talk about those, the cons to Kyler Murray for sure, because there are, a couple here that need to be talked about, but regardless, Kyler's still an upgrade. Whether you like the guy, you don't like the guy, think he's a fit, you don't think he's a fit, he's an upgrade over Justin Fields. Boom. He is. He's someone who pretty much is the fastest player on the field at all times. He does a really good job of just completing passes, just playing efficient football. I think he's literally completed over 65% of his passes in every single year he's been a pro, maybe outside of his rookie season, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's pretty good, right? Compared to what we've seen over this last, 5-year stretch here. Kyler, for sure, I personally would feel pretty confident in Kyler's ability to step in, learn the system, extend plays, complete passes, just play efficient football. At times he gets like a little backyard football-y, which I understand. And you just kind of have to take the good with the bad. Kind of like 3-point shooters, in the NBA. Like, there's some amazing plays that come with it, but at times you're going to get some bad sacks and whatnot. You just kind of have to live with it with Kyler. I mean, really, all these guys that extend plays. Josh Allen at times makes boneheaded decisions. I mean, we've seen some strange decision making for Patrick Mahomes when he continues to extend plays, but then you get those money plays where it's just amazing. But the point is, if you want to go out and upgrade at the quarterback position while not spending any first round picks on that position, in other words, 5 starters with superstar potential, at least one of them will be a top 10 selection over the next 2 seasons. I mean, think about how quick we could rebuild the team. That's assuming we don't sign any more free agents. That's assuming that no day 3 and no day 2 picks work out. Think about if we just had 5 first rounders on this team right now, and we hadn't upgraded the quarterback position. Like, just that thought alone fires you up a little bit. But we also have to talk about the cons, the red flags with Kyler, right? And again, I hate to sound like a broken record because we've talked a lot about Kyler here on the channel, but one big thing, one glaring issue that stands out are the injuries. He's missed a lot of time. You kind of feel like there's always like this nagging thing happening. Like, you go back and you look at the total amount of games played, or I guess in other words, games missed. It's a decent amount. It's not just, oh, he has a finger injury, he missed a game, or oh, he's in concussion protocol, he missed a game or two. Let's actually pull up the exact numbers here. So 2021, 14 games, 2022, 11 games, 23, 8 games, played every game in 2024, 8 and 9 total record, 21 touchdowns, over 3,800 passing yards, 11 INTs, with a completion percentage just under 69%. So overall, a pretty solid year. And then this season, of course, only 5 games and is dealing with the mid-foot injury. So it is a concern when you look at Kyler Murray's size, when you look at his play style. You wonder about the longevity of a career like that. How long can he play at this level for? So that's the first red flag. The second, there are some leadership questions with Kyler. Is he the best? Is he someone to really pull the team out when they're down and out? Is he someone who can respond from adversity well? Is he someone who can come in and handle the New York market? I think that whole thing is a little overblown. I think if you look at Kyler's career, even going back to high school, and I mentioned this, I think in a video like a month or two ago, in my opinion, Kyler Murray is the best high school player to ever come out of Texas in history. Like, he is that good. He was that good. Multiple state championships. Like, he was amazing. High-level recruit, 5-star guy, goes to A&M, goes to Oklahoma, right? Wins the Heisman, had a lot of success over there. Like, Kyler's a winner. He's been in the spotlight for such a long time. I think he could step into New York and handle the questions that these guys ask. I don't think that would get to him all that much. I do feel like he would be able to handle it, but it's still an unknown up to this point. But the overall leadership within the locker room, right? There's been some Cardinals fans that have talked about it. You kind of feel like there's not direct reports about it, but just some questions like, hey, is Kyler really at the forefront of spearheading the turnaround for the Cardinals, or is he just one of the guys? And there's not really anything wrong with being one of the guys, but ideally, if you're a big money, high-end quarterback, you would want that player to be a leader, especially looking at one of these teams like the Browns, the Jets, or maybe someone else, where they're looking for that quarterback to be a leader. Here's my pushback on that, and although that's a completely valid question, I think the idea of Kyler Murray with a chip on his shoulder, essentially getting kicked out of Arizona, just see you later, we're going to opt with Jacoby Brissett, we're going to opt for a rookie, whoever. I think that could be really, really, really exciting for the Jets or the Browns or whoever acquires Kyler, if in fact he does get moved. Because Kyler, you kind of feel like he's never really been bet against. Again, high school, college, kind of feel like everything he's always been the favorite to win, to perform, to put up the stats. But now you kind of feel like it's the opposite, and people are doubting him. People are saying that he can't play. I've seen some comments that say Kyler Murray sucks and is bottom 3 quarterback in the league. Personally, I don't believe that, but there are people that do truly think that. Him maybe experiencing that for the first time could be really exciting. Like, okay, you guys want to count me out, chip on my shoulder. Think of Baker Mayfield, right? Same kind of deal over in Tampa. Really, really cool. And so to kind of wrap this thing up here, big picture, if the Jets finish with the first pick, second pick, third pick, I think I'm going to be looking at a quarterback right up there in the top of the draft. But if not, if you're at 6, 7, 8, the whole idea of, again, we don't have a quarterback, so we're forced into drafting one. We're backed into a corner. We can't afford to pass on one. Nope, not at all. I will pass on it every single day of the week if I don't love someone. It's not how you find a franchise quarterback, in my opinion. So for me, the draft positioning is huge on this whole thing. Where do the Jets finish in the first round? Because I really like the idea of potentially getting an upgraded QB without even having to spend or trade one first to do that. I do think that is pretty enticing. So if I'm Darren Muji, of course I'm going to explore it. Of course I'm going to get a price tag. Of course I'm going to dive into it, meet with the coaches, watch the film. I mean, there's really no excuse not to, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I think there would be some concerns with Kyler for sure. It's not the perfect option in the world, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that have worked out. I mean, think about when Jared Goff got dealt to the Lions. I mean, his reputation at the time was shot. You know, even Matt Stafford, when he went to the LA Rams, like his overall record, I think literally was identical to Kyler Murray's right now. My camera actually just died, so I'll probably just put up a picture of Kyler Murray here. Anyway, thanks guys. Appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next one. And as always, go Jets.